Hello and welcome back to Geneva Blue Studio. It's been 2.5 months since my last recording, my last video. So thanks for your patience, those who can still be bothered watching them. I've been pretty busy, basically, that's why. More on that later. I'll talk quickly about a couple of things today. I want to talk about the GPHG winners from the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie in Geneva last night. Yesterday was the event. And talk about the rest of the watch I got on. I want to talk about a little watch here, which I'm trying to do a bit of a cleanup on. So we'll get right into it. Firstly, wrist check. I'm wearing a Squale, because I happen to sell Squale. So like it or not, I'm going to talk about it. This is the T-183 dive watch from Squale in carbon. And I guess they call it carbon. It's carbon and resin, carbon and fiberglass or carbon and resin. The blue lines in the case are a form of fiberglass. It's a really cool watch. It's quite striking, the design with these stripes in the case. It's a 600-meter dive watch, a kind of serious dive watch, except for a couple of things. Got upside down there. The lume is useless. So it's not really, this is a UV light I'm shining on here, and it kind of holds the lume for a little while, but not for very long. But it looks pretty cool in the sunlight, a blue lume like that. And you obviously got the lume pip here. It's a 41mm dive watch, still black. Everything that's black you see here is DLC, apart from the insert for the bezel, which is ceramic, which is a nice touch. It's a pretty robust watch. For a carbon watch. The strap is some sort of microfiber or something they call it, which I don't think would last very long under real conditions if you use it for a beater. But the case is a cool case. That comes in a red and black as well, a red carbon case, or black and red carbon, or black and blue like this. I've got a few of those, and I like them, basically. As I said, not a great dive watch, but if you're just using it for as most dive watches are used, it's a cool watch. Kind of different having that carbon case, basically. So, and then I wanted to talk about another watch, this little watch here, and I don't even know what brand it is, basically, and you'll see why. It's a watch which was found under someone's house here in Shenton Park, WA. And they gave it to me to try and clean up. Basically, it's obviously beyond all repair, but I thought it'd be interesting just to pull it apart. Obviously, the dial is it's gone. It was sitting under someone's house for probably 70 years, I'd imagine, if not more. And it seems to have gone through a fire. There was little ashes and stuff, bits of ash, dust in the case. And I'm holding it sort of less funny because I'm holding it together. It's got a cushion shaped front case, but that comes off. I did manage to get that off. And then after a bit of a cleanup, I managed to take the movement out of the case. I'll try and get that out and show you. There's going to be jammed in there, of course, now. Simple brass case, I'd imagine. It doesn't even seem to be steel. It's quite a cheap construction, cheap watch, and that's bared out by the movement design. Obviously, all the keyless works here. Sort of the front of the dial's right. So the dial itself would be all corroded. It'd be gone. It's gone. Basically, it would have been maybe brass. And then the back, you can see the balance wheel here, which is a very cheap one-piece balance wheel, which leads me to think it's probably it was a cheap watch, basically. Luckily, I've seen this sort of little bridge. It's a weird little bridge here on some cheap movements, but I don't do research on this show, so I didn't go and research it. I could have found it, I'm sure, photos, something similar. It's not unlike some old Timex watches from 50 years ago, but it's a bit older than that. This here is the crown wheel, which was steel, obviously, so it's corroded really badly, rusted. This here will be the cliquet and the top of the barrel. And if you look at the side view, you can see the barrel here and what's left of the teeth, basically. So what I'm going to do with that as a little project is throw it in my ultrasound, my ultrasonic machine, which an ultrasonic is what watchmakers use to clean out dirt, encrusted dirt and filth in watches and movements. This is pretty much beyond an ultrasound, I think. But I've got one right here. I'm going to drop it in anyway and turn it on and basically, see what happens. So I've got my ultrasound here, which is filled with a liquid, water-based liquid, with essentially dishwashing liquid in it. You can get proper ultrasound liquid from watchmaker supply shops or Bergeron. Cost a fortune though, and this does pretty much the same job. It's a basic ultrasound. I'm going to turn it on just to. It basically vibrates, or has an ultrasonic vibration in the water, which really gets into those jammed parts and shakes off all of the loose dirt and even bits of rust that can get rid of. But it's kind of a noisy thing because it has this vibration, a really weird high-pitched vibration. So I'm not going to leave it on. I'm going to turn it on just to show you for a sec, which is going to be, if I find the switch, like that. So that's vibrating now and getting rid of all those bits of dirt and rust out of the movement and, well, as much as it can, and the case itself. I'm going to turn it off because it's kind of noisy, and I'm going to do a part 2 of this video. I'll put it back on for half an hour, do a part 2 and take it out and see what you can see, basically. In the meantime, I'm going to go through the GPHG winners. The Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Genève was on yesterday, and I actually did a Zoom video with my mates Alex, the watch regulator, and Michael Woods, the watchmaker from Victoria, both guys from Victoria. And we went through all of the categories and the pre-selected watches of this. And I picked what I thought would be the winners, or up there anyway. And the Zoom cut out, basically, and because they didn't have a professional version. And then so we lost it. It wasn't worth putting up, basically. So I'm going to go through the winners anyway. So I'm going to be cheating. I'll tell you what I picked and what I didn't. The Grand Prix, the big prize, was gone to the Piaget Altiplano Ultimate Concept, which I didn't like. I thought it was too thin. I didn't pick that. Innovation Prize, Parmigiani. For Perpetual Calendar, there was a couple of different ones in that category that I would pick. I didn't pick that one. Audacity Prize, the Moser and MBF Endeavour, which I did give a solid mention. If they did, I would have been surprised if it hadn't got a mention that it won that one. Horological Revelation Prize, Petermann Beda. I talked about that. Definitely Petermann Beda is a small new brand in Switzerland. Two guys, Petermann and Beda. And it's a beautiful watch. Great movement. They have an awesome deadbeat second bridge and complication. You can look that up. Look up Petermann Beda. Ladies went to Beauvais, Miss Audrey. I would have picked that one. Ladies Complication was a Signature Mystérieuse Tourbillon by Charles Girardier. We talked about that, but I wouldn't have picked that one either. So I'm not going too good actually with my picks. The men's Vutilanen 28SC, I said it would definitely be that one or another one. Men's Complication, Goubel 40 Handmade 1. Yes, picked that one. You need to look these up basically. Iconic watch was a Bulgari aluminium chronograph, and it's kind of a weird category because there's not that many iconic watches really in the true meaning of the word iconic. But that was a nice watch, which is they've relaunched it again, like 20 years something after the original. Not a bad watch, but I don't think it's sort of iconic yet. In the calendar and astronomy category, the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Perpetual Calendar Ultra Thin Skeleton. Yeah, it's a pretty boring watch for me. Mechanical Exception, the Beauvais Recital 26 Brainstorm Chapter 2. That was definitely up there as well. We talked about that. I don't think I would have picked it. I said that people probably would choose it though because it's a pretty cool watch. In the chronometry, the Ferdinand Berthaud. I was looking at something else in the chronometry. Yeah, because that was kind of a boring looking watch. In that one, there was also a Theo Offray and Brevet Nordo, which are both brands we've never heard of, but these independent watchmakers doing brilliant stuff. I would have chosen either of those, but this is chronometry, so they're also looking at accuracy and actual chronometry of the timing returns that the watch gave. So the Ferdinand Berthaud probably got a pretty good chronometry rating, basically. Next one was the chronograph, which was the Moser watch, the Streamliner, which I think pretty sure I picked. I don't know. Alex and Michael will probably come back and say I didn't pick that, but or whichever ones of these. But that was definitely on my list because it's a that's a pretty cool watch. The Moser. Where are we now? Then it was the jewelry. Van Cleef and Arpels, I definitely wouldn't have picked that. There was something else I was looking at. I think there was a Jacob & Co., which love the brand, I hate it. They do some awesome jewelry watches, some colorful jewelry watches. And I was looking at I don't even know, scrolling down here now. Yeah, Jacob & Co., the Mystery Tourbillon Full Ruby. That's a pretty cool version of their Mystery Tourbillon. Didn't pick that. Artistic Crafts, Van Cleef and Arpels Lady Apple Soleil Fierique. Whatever. Didn't really interest me much that category, to be honest. Then we got dive watches, and that was a Breitling Super Ocean. This year, the GPHG, there was a lot of bigger brands, less small brands, apart from Kari, Voutilainen, Max. The Ferdinand Berthaud, small brand, but Beauvais, Peter better. There was less of a representation in the whole thing as a whole than in previous years. And Breitling got two categories here: divers and the Petit Aiguille, which is under 5,000 Swiss francs, I think. Another Super Ocean. They're a bit overrated, but anyway. The Challenge was a two-door Black Bay 58. Yeah, again, cheaper ones, and it's big brands basically. So two-door Breitling, VCNA, which is a Richemont brand, and what have we got? VC, Bulgari. For me, they're all big brands, but it was nice to, and then Piaget as well. It was nice to see Moser represented, Beauvais, Charles Girardier, and obviously Kari Voutilainen and Grubel Forsey, as well as that that Peterman Better was a big revelation, which was a good one to win the category because they made a big noise, or it made headlines when it first came out. I think it was at the start of the year or beginning of end of the year before. They changed up their dial. The original one wasn't great. It was quite boring, the dial. They changed that up. I spoke to one of the guys there, I'm not sure which one, whether it was Peterman or Better, about 6 or 8 months ago about that. And it was really good to see the new dial, basically. Great representation of that little brand from Lausanne in Switzerland. So that's the GPHG. For those who are interested, there's a bit of news in that I am opening a shop here in Perth. It's a short-term lease, what I would call a pop-up shop, and that's in London Court, and that will open next week. That's why I've been so busy. It will open a week today. Actually, a week yesterday it'll actually open. So that's what I've been doing. But getting a bunch of furniture and trying to get stuff ready for the fit out of that little temporary shop. I'm doing that in conjunction or in partnership with the Independent Collective in Sydney, run by Nick Hooper, for those who know, in Australia. And he's sending me a bunch of stock from Seven Friday and a bunch of other brands that he has to put in my shop as well, to introduce people or to let people discover some new brands, basically. So that's what I'll be doing. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing any more of these videos, if I'll get time over the next 3 months. I'm going to be pretty flat out from now until mid-February. So I hope everyone has a great Christmas. We've got this COVID thing, which is still ongoing all over the world, except here in Australia, we seem to have sort of beat it for the moment. That little second wave in Victoria, we've not had any ongoing things here in Perth, but I'm sure when we open up the borders, that's not to say that we won't have more. But they seem to be managing it quite radically, which means quite well compared to some countries, and we haven't had too many cases. that's all I think for now. It's almost time to go and pick up the kids. See you in the shop. It's going to be called Time Limited by Geneva Blue and the Independent Collective in London Court in Perth. And that will be open from the 19th of November. I'll get this video up now. And I'm going to label this part 1. Check out part 2. That'll be when this watch has been in the ultrasonic for an hour, probably, and then I'll get it out and see how it's looking. It should be a shorter video than this one, hopefully. It'll just be a before and after. You've seen the before. Check it out later on for the after. Look up. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I said I wouldn't say that, but I'm saying it now. And check out the podcast on Fifth Wrist Radio. Shout out to the guys there. The Watch Regulator. The Fifth Wrist website where you can go and review your own watch. And yeah, that's all really. I think that'll do.